Milwaukee mom who is on a mission to find justice for her son after he was killed in a crash last year.
All this shit came from blended tan, I ain't scam nothing.
Got bodies from state to state, in the mill, I'm clapping niggas for the pay.
Yellow Jeff was spinning, but I ain't paying nothing.
Welcome back to another episode of Tru-Street TV, where we cover everything street related. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And just as a disclaimer, everything I'm going to speak about in this video is based on rumors and stuff I found on the internet. I don't know any of these people in real life, and this is strictly for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, today we're here to cover one of the fastest come-ups and fall-offs I've seen in the mill. As we spoke about before, Milwaukee has a deep-rooted street culture, mainly predicated around getting money and selling drugs. And although that is better than killing each other, too many Milwaukee youth end up in the prison system, and Wisconsin has no problem handing out hefty prison sentences for drug dealing. And they don't care how old you are. For example, Lil Trav is currently serving a ridiculous sentence for drug dealing, and I'm currently putting his video together, so be on the lookout for that. With that being said, let's talk about the man who brings us here today. 22-year-old FayFay Ellis, more commonly known by his rap name, Superthrowed FayFay. FayFay was born and raised in Milwaukee, and he's been deep in the streets, jumping off the porch at a young age, as many Milwaukee youth do. He has deep ties in the Milwaukee streets, as his brothers Big and Lil Ken are well known in the city for hustling and rapping. Faye and Lil Ken would catch serious drug cases during their high school years and would be sent to detention. Once released, FayFay would attend Milwaukee Transition High School, which is an alternative school for kids who've been expelled or who are returning from prison. And FayFay would receive his high school diploma from here in 2021. A few years before this, Ken and Faye would take a massive loss as their friend Xavier Barfield was gunned down in 2017. And we actually already spoke about this event in the Solo Key video, so if you haven't seen that yet, go check it out for me. Anyways, Xavier was sadly killed, and Lil Ken can be seen on Facebook posting multiple tributes to Xavier. And as I have covered older Milwaukee rappers, their story mostly involves drug dealing and going to jail, but these younger guys are involved in deadly gang wars with multiple cliques across the city. Superthrowed is one of the older cliques with older guys known for getting money, but their younger members like FayFay are deeply involved in the war. And sadly, Big Ken would be shot and killed in Milwaukee at only 20 years old. On February 3rd, 2021, Ken was sitting in a vehicle on 99th and Appleton with a 29-year-old man named Jarian when out of nowhere, gunmen opened fire, killing both of them. This was a massive loss for Ken and Faye and Milwaukee as a whole, as Big Ken was well loved and had many songs with many known Milwaukee artists. One of my favorite Big Ken verses is a song called In an Hour featuring SME Tax Free.
I just dropped a 22 if you come and buy 3. Order 5 of them and you might get them bitches for 17. Miss 6 pound pops, fell asleep off the lean. Got it back the next morning, ask your bitch what she seen.
And Faye will go on to get a RIP Big Ken chain and has spent for Big Ken in his bio today. FayFay would build his reputation in the streets as a hustler and really run his money up going into 2022. And as many Milwaukee hustlers do, once they begin seeing real money in the streets, they invested in a rap career in an attempt to make it out. FayFay, alongside Ghost 53206, Lil Ken, K-Rax, and Telly will create the rap group Red Tape and begin dropping music in 2022. Shortly before this, Faye would catch his first adult case, being charged with possession with intent to sell weed as he got pulled over alongside his friend who goes by the name Man. Officer Ryan Reagan of the Milwaukee Police Department was the arresting officer, and FayFay would bond out and plan on fighting this case until the end. The Red Tape group is also known for being locked in with the Bloodhounds like Lil Jeff, Vert, Q50, Swerve, and T-Slick. And there are a lot of rumors about the Bloodhounds doing hits in Milwaukee for Red Tape. There was a triple murder that happened on March 27, 2022 that had fingers pointed at the Bloodhounds. Two brothers named Anthony Thompson and Ty Aries McKinney, alongside a 52-year-old man named Clarence Harris, were killed after being shot to death inside their apartment.
The case involving 3 men shot and killed execution style at an apartment in Milwaukee is still unsolved. 2 of the victims were brothers, and detectives say it's going to take the whole community to get this killer off the streets.
They ain't in no more pain. They ain't gonna hurt no more.
On March 28th, a day after the triple shooting, droves of people came out to remember the 3 men killed: Anthony Thompson, T. McKinney, Clarence Harris.
No arrest will be made following this, and Anthony Thompson was a Milwaukee rapper who went by the nickname Big Juice, and he was close with Big One and the YPC camp, as well as the We Up Next group. And Big Juice also appeared on the Eastside Cypher, which has around 400,000 views today.
I'm a well-known gritter, going to ask your big Dre. 50 grams of that bar, 2 pints in the split.
And as I did my homework, I couldn't find anything that would make me think Red Tape had anything to do with this, but I could be wrong. The internet would attempt to tie the Bloodhounds to this murder, and Trap Lord sure Ross would even speak about this in a DJ Vlad interview.
Even more crazy thing about Jeff and Q50 is that, you know, allegedly they were doing hits for money in another city. So there's a whole bunch of lyrics that they've got talking about I'm in Milwaukee taking hits for hits for paper, doing hits for change. And only since my documentaries came out, there's been a new, what's it called? A new theory on Reddit that there's basically was a triple homicide in Milwaukee that people are saying, yo, this is the one where Jeff and Q50, they were paid to kill one guy and they ended up killing 3 guys. And then there's a bunch of lyrics where Jeff and Q50 have these little bars where they're talking about my first hit was a 2 for 1, or I'm in Milwaukee doing hits for the change. My first hit wasn't a regular hit. It's actually crazy. These guys are taking it to a whole nother level.
Niggas know I got bodies from state to state. In the mill, I'm clapping niggas for the pay.
Q50 is very closely tied in with Faye and K-Rox, and FayFay called Q50 from prison while 50 was doing a no jumper interview.
I'm doing a little interview, brother. It's my boy FayFay, man. From me, free my boy. Hey, talk your shit real quick now, finna how you call me back. It's on the interview.
Yo, man. Yo, I'll be back in no time. It's only a matter of time, man. You niggas still can't fuck with me. You niggas ain't fuck with my brother 50, man. Wrong with Lil Jeff.
You know that. That's my boy Superthrowed, FayFay. I go get off. I love you though, bro. I'm finna call you on the interview. I'm text you on GTL on the call.
Alright, love you, bro.
Alright, you know that.
How long bro locked up for? You finna come out?
Yeah, my brother finna come out. I think he got like a year or 2 left, some little shit.
And Q50 also mentions Milwaukee in many songs.
Jeff color bricks like a nigga play Tetris. I was up in the mill, catch the dumps on Fetty. Or robbing niggas that's out here flexing. Been in the mill for too long, got there and went out there and dropped some shit. Shining baby told me to get rich. I'm up in the stool trying to make me a hit. Or up in the mill trying to dump me a brick.
Many bloggers would begin spreading rumors that Jeff and 50 killed Jig and Sally as well, but I've spoken to people close to that situation and I don't believe that to be true. But again, I could be wrong. If you're unfamiliar with the Jig and Sally situation, go check out our Chickapee and Jig video we released last year. Ghost and K-Rox also featured on Q50's album he just released on the song My Glizzy. And the group Red Tape would release their first song I was able to find just 3 days after the triple murder, releasing a music video called I Got Fire with Big Cam, FayFay, and Ghost on the song. They went crazy on this song as they rap about hustling, and the in-depth lyrics really make the music more authentic, and them all having respect in the streets, it was a perfect combination for their music to take off. And for the rest of 2022, this will be a very eventful year for the group as Lil Kent was caught with the distributor amounts of cocaine. And as we talked about before, these drug charges are no joke in Wisconsin, and Lil Kent was facing up to 25 years in prison. And he was already on probation for possession of a firearm by a felon. Kent would eventually receive around 5 years in prison for these 2 cases, and he has a release date set for November of 2026. And just 2 months after this, the group would take a massive loss as their close friend Bobby was killed after being struck by a vehicle running a red light. And sadly, this is very common in Milwaukee and it isn't talked about enough. High speeds and reckless driving are so regular, but this is one of the consequences to that, and Bobby was just minding his business when hit and killed. This was a tragic loss, and you can hear FayFay saying long live Bobby in almost every song, as well as putting Bobby on his debut mixtape, which we'll talk about here soon.
Janice Crump, it's been just over a year since her son, 27-year-old Bobby Brown, died at this intersection, 7th and Locust, when his minivan was hit by a white van. A crash caught on camera at this corner store. When Janice saw the video,
I just screamed. I ended up getting sick. I was sick for a whole week.
Bobby's minivan gets clipped and slides through the intersection. You can't see it from this video, but he eventually hits a tree. According to autopsy reports, it was the impact with that tree that killed Bobby. Janice provided this video to the I-Team. She put it together in a documentary to try to bring awareness to her son's death.
Red Tape / Superthrowed beefs primarily with the Milwaukee group who goes by Firebatch, and their most known rapper is a rapper who goes by the name of Firebatch Tekka. And on April 10th, Firebatch released a song called Porofo. 2 members who are brothers are seen in this video. They went by the nicknames Mar and CP. And that takes us to about 5 months later, to Thursday night, September 1st, 2022. Milwaukee would be shocked by overnight tragic news that 18-year-old Marion Brown had been shot in the head, killing him instantly while he was sleeping in his bed at his house near 62nd and Tower. And surprisingly enough, while searching the crime scene, police would eventually discover Marion's brother Charles Robinson, who had just turned 18 a week prior. He was also found shot twice in the head in a vehicle parked in the driveway of the house, which was unknown to police initially as they found him hours later. These young kids ended up losing their life to the streets, which was probably started over something minor. It's really sad to see, but these kind of situations play out all over the country. FBI would investigate this, and eventually a 20-year-old man named Joseph Tucker was arrested and convicted at trial for this, using cell phone data.
Judge sentenced Joseph Tucker to 2 consecutive life terms in prison. Jury found Tucker guilty of 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 1 count of taking and driving a vehicle without consent. Back in September of 2022, 18-year-old Amarion Brown was shot to death in his bed at his home near 62nd and Tower. His 18-year-old brother, Charles Robinson, was also shot at their home. Tucker was friends with both of them.
And another man named Tamarat Mills would be charged with their murder as well, which he is currently fighting.
Prosecutors charging 20-year-old Tamarat Mills with 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 1 count of taking a vehicle without the owner's consent. Prosecutors say he's one of 2 men responsible for the fatal shootings of Amarion Brown and Charles Robinson.
Red Tape members frequently taunt CP and Mar, and clearly the Bloodhounds didn't do this, as the killers were friends of CP and Mar and they were arrested. And Firebatch members refer to them as the Dog Bros, as they were getting a lot of money in the streets, and FayFay would mock these young men, posting a song called Long Live the Dog Bros around 6 months later, with Mar and CP on the cover of the song. And surprisingly to me, only one of the comments pointed this out as a troll song by FayFay. And just 2 weeks after these murders, K-Rax would appear on his first song as a part of the group, and they would name this song Spinning Blocks. The song has almost 300,000 views and would set the group up to make a lot of noise in the city. And just 2 months after this, the group would end the year off releasing a song called Laugh About It. This was their biggest song up to that point and has well over 700,000 views.
The north side hot, I'ma beat the south today. Smash it to my pop on lady, got an A.
And in my opinion, FayFay in particular would stand out as he has a very unique voice and a smooth flow, also living what he rapped about. Ghost, FayFay, and K-Rax would start off the next year of 2023 strong, releasing Grammys in February. The song has right under 400,000 views.
I've been in the library reading books, dropping whiskey to the oil, nigga, I'm a fire cook.
And about a month later in March, Faye and Ghost would release another big song titled 300 Blackout. The song has over 300,000 views without the video, which is impressive.
Working with the people, when I see you, I'ma walk you down. He said this fire make his heart stop, I had to turn it down.
And going into the summer of 2023, the group would release another big song, and it seemed as long as they shot a video that their songs would go up, as the song Stuck racked up well over 200,000 views.
Creeping through the day, I let Telly work the night shift.
A foe in this cup, I'm getting drowsy, I can't fight this.
Which is hard to do for local rappers, but this group was on fire at the time. YPC member Eno can be seen in this video as well. And in July, FayFay would release his debut mixtape titled Free Bands Forever. This is a great mixtape with plenty good songs. And although it's not the biggest song on there, my favorite being the song Workin' Jacks featuring Juicer and Ghost.
Little dog thought he got some raw, but that shit was smacked. You can catch me fishing on the south with that fire back.
Dead and Quan, Lil Trav, and others would appear on this tape, and Faye would send shots at multiple songs, including one titled Fire Batch.
Ain't even swipe no hits, you ain't got no fire back. I'm in a car with K-Rap, he be itching to catch a hat.
And the biggest song by far off of this tape, titled Plenty Missed Calls, is a good song and their biggest song to date. YPC members can be seen in this video, and more notably Bloodhounds, including Jeff and Q50 are seen in this video.
Get about the Bloodhounds, you know, Big B, Long Lizzy.
And shortly after this video, on September 4, 2023, 18-year-old Clifton Penn Jr., who went by the name BBM Mook, was fatally shot while sitting in a vehicle in a driveway near 58th and Fairmount on the city's west side. This was a tragic death, and the city would be shook by this. 607 Unc would go on YouTube claiming Lil Jeff was responsible for this murder, and Milwaukee Hood News would correct him, saying it was Q50. No arrest would be made, and there's no way of telling who was responsible, but Firebatch Tekka would release a Superthrowed diss not too long after this, where he says rest in peace to Mook, CP, and Mari.
Person that killed Mook, like I keep telling you, is Bloodhound Jeff from Chicago. He was paid to kill Mook by the GBG. gang, and I don't think you understand that.
It wasn't Jeff, bro. It was affiliated with that. It's close, but it was not Jeff, bro.
But it's not close, gang, because listen, you saw the
No, it was Bloodhound, but it wasn't Jeff.
Gang, it was Bloodhound, but it was Jeff. Because listen, if you Bloodhound and you connected with Jeff, you don't know who doing the hit, right? It's under their tag. Just like if you go to McDonald's, you don't know who made the fries.
You know who did it, bro. It's their most turned rapper right now.
My brother Mook, he was popping out them cuts. We smoking on that shit back. Superthrowed, high as I can be. If I catch a Superthrowed, I'ma leave his ass on E.
And red tape would get slid on for this, as K-Rax was at the restaurant Elsa's on the Park on September 27, 2023, just a few weeks later, when 3 men jumped out of a vehicle and would shoot over 20 rounds into the restaurant, striking K-Rax multiple times, as well as a 55-year-old waiter, but luckily they both would survive this shooting. K-Rax would tell police he doesn't know who will be shooting at him, and no arrest will be made following this.
And as many as 3 shooters involved in the shooting at a popular downtown Milwaukee restaurant. The shooting injured 2 people last month at Elsa's in Cathedral Square. A search warrant obtained by 12 News says surveillance video shows the shooters in a stolen SUV outside the restaurant waiting for one of the victims. Investigators say the victim suffered multiple gunshot wounds. Police recovered 28 bullet casings at the scene. The other victim, a worker at the restaurant, suffered a graze wound. Police say no one is in custody. However, they do believe they recovered the stolen SUV and found cell phone paperwork, a bottle, and a receipt inside. Also, according to the warrant, the victim denied seeing the shooters and told police he did not know why anyone would want to kill him.
And during this time, FayFay had went on trial for his weed case he caught back in December of 2021, and after one day of trial, he would be found guilty by a jury on October 3rd, with sentencing scheduled to take place in November. And on Halloween, FayFay and Ghost would collab on a project calling it Long Live Bobby. Red Tape would then link up with Juicer, Funny Money, Joe Pablo, and Dead End Quan, releasing the song That One Kind. This was a big song and has well over 800,000 views.
You know I love the South, I be beating down police. Thursdays and Fridays, quick to crack a G.
And just a few days after this release, FayFay would be sentenced to probation for the weed case. But he would make a very big mistake shortly after this, as on November 11th, FayFay would be arrested and charged with many very serious felonies, ranging from possession with intent to sell meth, heroin, and cocaine, as well as multiple possession of firearm by a felon charges. He will be placed on a $100,000 bond for this, as well as being placed on a PO hold as he just started probation a week earlier. FayFay was now facing serious time for this, as these charges all can carry lengthy prison sentences if convicted. And FayFay and Trav had plenty unreleased songs done together, as they would release the tape called Free Us in December. And around a year later, in September of 2024, FayFay would plead guilty to 6 felonies, receiving between 2 and 5 years for each count. But luckily for him, they all would be ran concurrently, meaning he only has to serve 5 years, and he would quickly be sent to Dodge a week after pleading guilty and transferred to Waupun State Prison in January of this year. And K-Rax went on to release the song Bloody Tears, where he admitted that Lil Jeff was spinning, but saying he didn't pay him anything.
Got it wrong, yeah, Lil Jeff was spinning, but I ain't paying nothing. Grab a rental, tint that bitch from front to back.
FayFay has a release date scheduled for November 1st, 2028, with a little over 3 years to go. I hope he's able to succeed once out, not involved in street hustling. And if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and comment down below who I should cover next or your thoughts in general. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
I'm the youngest of the camp, and I cracked 40 this month. Call my blood. Roll off the clientele, stupid.